Hello, my name is Chrissy Fahey. I'm with the Office of Career Advising and Development here at Lemoyne College. In this video, I am going to walk through our resume and cover letter guide. So I'm going to take a moment so I can share my screen with you so we can do just that. So as you see, we kind of are scrolling to the second page and you're going to notice a table of contents. There's a lot of information packed in this guide, so make sure you refer to this page so that you can find what's most important for you. But if you're just starting out, congratulations. This is a really important step in terms of moving towards your career goals. We really should have a polished and well-crafted resume and cover letter, and this guide is going to help you do just that. So as we get started, we are looking at where do we even begin, right? So we're going to look at how we start that first draft. And really, in essence, you're going to list all your activities and experiences, whether they're paid or unpaid. Get some logistical information down, the month, the year that you worked in those places or where you participated in that club or volunteer organization, the city and state per each experience, and you're going to organize them into basic categories. And this is going to help you start to notice where you have gained some skills and where maybe perhaps you've invested some time in areas that you're interested in. Once you get some categories together, and you'll see they'll kind of coalesce, you'll want to customize these categories if possible. This helps that category just stand out a bit more. So make sure you're looking at these experiences and see if you can customize. Like, for example, if you had multiple internships, but let's say they were focused in marketing, then maybe take that category and change it to marketing internships. As you start to finish up customizing categories, then you're going to look at the layout in each section. Education will most likely always be at the top in leading your resume, especially for undergraduate students. Then you're going to start thinking about bullet points under each of those experiences. And this is where we show you how to craft a really impactful bullet point. You're going to take a power verb. You're going to look at the project itself, and then what was the result or what was that impact as a result of all that work? Okay, and here you can see in this blue arrow our formula for resume descriptions. And once we start crafting those bullet points, we're going to look at the format. You know, we obviously do not want to use a template. We want to use the right font size. We want to bold your name. We want to make sure that your name is the largest font size on the page. And we want to make sure that we're using underline and italicizing things where it makes sense. Consistency matters with formatting, so make sure that you're being consistent in the pattern, where you use your underline, make sure that you're being consistent, or italicizing a position, make sure you're italicizing for each position, and that you're utilizing your spacing appropriately. There's not too much overcrowding on your document, but there's also not excessive white space in your document. And we have a video clip here that gives you some tips on formatting your resume to one page, which, by the way, should definitely be the standard that you're looking at when crafting a resume. Everything should fit on one page. Your employer or someone who's looking at your resume is really only scanning this document for about 6 seconds. So one page is where it's at. And then as far as final draft, you really should have someone else look at your document. You can either make an appointment with us via Handshake, which there is a hyperlink here, or you can attend drop-in hours, which we have available to you every semester. We also included some compelling reasons why you should really maximize the use of Handshake, specifically when talking about your profile on Handshake. If you complete your profile and you make your resume document visible to employers, you're 5 to 6 times more likely to be contacted by an employer. So make sure that you're building a great profile in Handshake, and there's also a hyperlink here to do that. As mentioned a few moments ago, I talked about those strong bullet point description writing. It always starts with using power verbs. We want to avoid things like worked for or responsible for, that very like kind of task oriented bullet point. We want to make sure that we start out with power verbs. And you can see all the different categories that these power verbs can fall under. So think about your experiences and your impact that you had in those experiences and choose your power verb wisely. We have a page dedicated to part-time job experience bullet points. We know sometimes it's difficult for students to explain in an effective way what they did in a retail job or perhaps a customer service job or a restaurant position. So we have a really healthy list of part-time job experience bullet points here for you. And then we move on to the resumes in our guide. We have various resumes from real Finns that can help you. So look at these resumes and see which one speaks to you, which one makes sense for you. If you're a freshman, sophomore, you want to obviously look at this freshman, sophomore example. We also have different majors that are represented in this guide in different programs. Here's a junior senior example. I do want to stop and take a moment and explain the difference between what a freshman sophomore resume might look like to a junior senior. A freshman sophomore example resume should have your high school experience on there. And as you leave your sophomore year, you're going to remove that high school education and experience. So as you move from your second to third year, you're going to remove that information. So that's the biggest difference between a freshman sophomore resume to a junior senior example. We also have a senior business example, a biology, as well as a rising junior nursing example. Here we have a second year occupational therapy resume and an accounting example. Taking a moment here, I wanted to stop and explain that some scenarios you may want to think about using a curriculum vitae. And what is the difference between a CV versus a resume? We explain that here and where might you use one. So take a look at this bullet point list. Usually it tends to be areas where you're going for teaching positions or research positions. The biggest difference in terms of the look and feel of a curriculum vitae versus a resume is that a CV is multiple pages. It focuses on that research experience. It includes references. It talks about faculty or professors that oversaw your research experience. So information like that will be included in your CV, but make sure that you read through this so that you fully understand if a curriculum vitae is more appropriate for your field. A physician assistant student or CV is available here for those students that might want to take a look at this type of document. It is here and it is multiple pages. So I'm going to scroll through. And then you can see where references are included. References are not usually included in a resume, so just be aware of that. And then we have a chem student where they decided to use a curriculum vitae, and you'll notice the research experience here, the explanation of that research experience, what the purpose of that, and who their advisor was with that particular research experience. And then at the end, we have a nice resume checklist. We want to make sure your formatting is on point. We want to make sure that the content is accurate and promotes you. So making sure that you walk through each list with each section here to make sure that you're in really good shape. So we have some guidance here as far as that goes. And then we're moving on to the cover letter, that other document that's often requested by employers. So you want to make sure that you're gathering your information. You're looking at who you're sending it to, the address. If we were actually going to mail this, oftentimes it's emailed, but you still have to have some of these components in there. So you want to make sure that you've gathered all the information and you've done your legwork there. Most importantly, you want to look at the job description when it comes to crafting your cover letter. And what I mean by that is looking at the responsibility, the qualifications, the preferred skills. You want to see what you have in terms of what's on that job description, highlight those, and include that information in your cover letter. The cover letter in general is not the time to repeat what's on your resume, but also to add context and to tell a story. So once you draft that, you'll obviously want to refine and kind of take a different look at it as far as considering who's reading it. So consider your audience. Make sure that you're highlighting your skills and what you bring to the position. Obviously, check for grammatical or spelling errors. And here we share the anatomy of a cover letter. We give you exact spacing, what you should put in each section, and then real examples. We have a STEM student cover letter here. And then we also have a business marketing student here. And then finally, once we get these cover letters and resumes in good working order, we're going to obviously, have a career advisor, a career coach look over these documents, and then we might have an opportunity to actually email these documents to an employer. And we give you guidance here on what to say in that email, how to keep it professional and brief, and more importantly, what not to do. So that concludes our walkthrough of our resume and cover letter guide. Thank you for taking the time to go through this guide. We have links that are available here for you if you weren't able to hyperlink that throughout the guide. Please be sure to follow us on our social media channels at LMC Dolphins Work or contact us via Handshake.